Hi, my name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is the first session in our games of Songs for the Dusk by Kavita Pajuri. We had a kind of session zero last week, so we've already created our characters and community and talked about the safety tools that we're going to be using. Our characters are an up and coming magpie crew, meaning they're scavengers and techies. They're based in Lachlan, which is a small community near Lovejoy in Pine Lock. If you don't know where these places are, that's okay. They are all part of Tamaris, a place in the far future where humanity in its various forms is still rebuilding and recovering from an apocalyptic cataclysm many, many, many years ago. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. If you're not familiar, the Gauntlet is an online gaming community that plays and discusses lots of role playing games, especially indie and story games. Community runs something like 100 sessions a month. You can find out more or sign up for a game at gauntlet-rpg.com. And if you're watching this around the time that I post the video, we have Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend coming up later in September with lots of one-shots that you can jump into to see if you like playing with us. That said, I am going to ask the players to introduce themselves and their characters. And let's see, let's go left to right across the character keeper, if that's okay. So just telling us you and your characters' names and pronouns and anything else that you want to tell us about you or them. So, I've just noticed that the character keeper doesn't have player names on it, which is going to confuse me. But I think, Agatha, you must be first with Rona. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I am. um Hi, I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing Rona, who is the kestrel. Her pronouns are she, her as well. Her look is that she's adapted. So she has her vibe is that she has a thin, weather-beaten face and a perpetual squint. She has semi-permanent eye blacks because her eyes are very pale. And how you can tell, or I guess how she is adapted, is that she has tufts of feathers around her ears, which enhance her hearing by a lot. She's Pinion by heritage, so she's local, and her background is military, but more in the terms of like she comes from a family who I guess have taken upon themselves to protect the local community. So that the military is very like not official, I guess. Um, and her anchor is Blair, her father and mentor, and also the safety of Lachlan, her home. So yeah, she's kind of like a serious girl. Her starting abilities. Should I go through everything, or is just the vibe good enough?
I mean, whatever you feel. The vibe is fine, but if you want to talk through the abilities as well, that could be useful.
Okay, then I will go through everything for now. Um, her starting ability as a kestrel is Seventh Sense. You understand the world around you better than most. You generate harmony on risky rolls as well. When there's a question about who acts first, the answer is you. And then I also took Red Eyes Shining. You can use your melody to resist a hidden or unexpected danger, or to push yourself when you act quickly and decisively.
Cool.
So just furthering that kind of like determined, serious, I must protect my family kind of vibe. And her belief is, I am a protector of Lachlan. It's my duty to keep it safe.
Awesome. Thank you. Pocket.
Hey there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Kluge, who uses she, her pronouns. And Kluge is a kind of skittish, jittery young woman who's surprisingly gets very focused when she's dealing with technology. If she's fixing something, making something, updating something, upgrading it, or in some other way, just tinkering. she's got this kind of dreadlocked hair that's almost more matted. And she's got grease smears everywhere, oil smears everywhere. Her clothes are oil stained. She has a flip up monocle with a lot of different lenses in it, which, they magnify things. They look at it with different colors. They can block out certain spectrums of light. And she has gauntlets that have a seemingly endless number of tools attached to them in unusual and, frankly, seemingly impossible ways. Also, everything that she wears has pockets, even her pockets.
Do you want to tell us about your anchors and belief and abilities?
Oh, anchors, beliefs, abilities. Okay. Her starting ability is Hot Fix, which allows her to spend harmony on a roll to fix stuff and gain an impact. She can work on a synthesis project during downtime and get an extra tick on the project clock. She can push herself to do one of the following, which is instantly repair or sabotage tech in the immediate area, or mystically assemble new tech from available materials, scrap, and old tech. Let's see. Where are her anchors? Are those over on the right?
On the left in that top sort of just personal bit. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's right. Tembo is a young disabled man, and Kluge keeps his tech and assistive devices functional. And Heldon, who always seems to need help with something, and Kluge likes feeling helping and feeling needed.
Cool. Thank you. And next, I think, is Ian.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ian. I use he, him pronouns, and so does my character, the scholar Uncle Doctor. Let me see. Let me pull this guy up. Uncle Doctor, his form is synthetic. He is a robot. His look is that he's made out of sort of like weathered and dented chrome. He has flashlight eyes and little like diodes and gauges all over himself. He usually is wearing like a patched cloak, and underneath that, some kind of like work coveralls. And his hands sort of switch out for the different tools that he needs, very sort of like Inspector Gadget in a way. His heritage is Pinion. He was built here in oh gosh. He was built here in Pine Lock, and his background is academic. He was built by a scientist and a professor, and has carried on that man's work of learning. Uncle Doctor was built in the likeness of this man, Thaddeus Garland. I just named him. His first name is Thaddeus, who is a kind of beloved grandfather or great uncle figure in this community. And when Thaddeus Garland was getting old, he built Uncle Doctor to kind of continue his role in this community. So Uncle Doctor's anchors are to protect and guide future generations, including the descendants of Thaddeus Garland. And also, he's anchored to this place where Thaddeus lived most of his life. Uncle Doctor still lives in Thaddeus Garland's old workshop. Let's see. Should we do beliefs or abilities?
Whatever you want.
Okay. Uncle Doctor believes that the mission of rebuilding the continent, well, first of all, the immediate community, and then more generally the world, to its former glory will be achieved, but he doesn't necessarily believe that he's going to make it that long to see it. He has the starting ability of the scholar says curiosity, satisfaction. Whenever I come across a historical location or artifact, or encounter Radiant Era technology for the first time, I can ask a question about it as though I had rolled a 6. That's a strong success, to collect information. And also I have the ability Charm Sight, I can push myself to do one of the following: temporarily enhance my senses to pierce solid matter, or view the past of a transcendent artifact or location.
Cool.
And I can
Thank
imagine
you.
when he does that, when he activates that ability, he like lights up from the inside from whatever kind of like radiant power source sits in his chest.
Nice. Thank you. And Dana.
Hey everyone, I'm Dana, pronouns she, her, and I'm playing Sibari, who also uses she, her pronouns. Sibari is a synthetic, and her particular flavor of synthetic is that she has like some electricity in her body in some way, like he can become electricity, she can change herself into electricity. She has all these electricity scars in her body that looks more or less shining, uh, depending on her mood and the current environmental factors. And she also has hair that can change colors, and she's tall and broad shouldered, and she's originally Malvari. I was thinking like she probably escaped from some sort of not ideal working situation, like she was working as a sort of electricity generator or something like that, and she didn't feel right in this place, so she escaped. Uh, and her anchors are storms, tall places, and workers owning their workforce. And I think like a lot of the reason that she comes here, that she has come here, it's related to the storms, and like she really likes that connection with thunderstorms and tall places and things like that. And yeah, I think my belief is I'm an outsider. I should be useful in order to gain my place, but only I will choose exactly how. And my starting ability is charm work. That means that I can spend harmony instead of paying any stress cost. And my special ability that I chose is charm break. That I can push myself to do one of the following: unleash an enormous blast of magical force, call down unnatural or unnatural storm around you, etc. And like I'm really like playing on that ability. Like I think most of the things that I'm playing in her aspect and things like that are from that ability.
Cool.
I don't know if I'm missing something.
That seemed good to me.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Thanks everyone. So as we get started, one thing that I'd encourage you all to take an extra look at is the XP triggers on your playbook tab, because obviously those are things that you're going to probably want to try and do if you want your characters to advance. Um, you also get XP for rolling desperate actions, is pretty standard for Forged in the Dark. But let's talk about your first mission as a crew of Striders. Saffron Brook has come to see you. You all know Saffron from the Mistral Research Collective. Um, he's he's the chief technician over there. He's quite industrious and hardworking, and I think he sees some of that quality in your group. So he's quite friendly towards you, but he is concerned. Uh, the the Mistral Research Collective has a little, what would you say, a research facility up in the mountains, sort of towards the border with the Red Empire, where they do some scientific research, but also, it's considered pretty important to the community because if the Red Empire were coming, they'd be one of the first. They've occasionally been able to notice troop movements and things like that. So it's quite an important facility for the community as a whole. But they're having a problem with poltergeist weed, which is a kind of, uh, it's a vine that grows up sort of uncontrolled. It creates these disturbing and often dangerous psychic manifestations. Things can move around unpredictably. Uh, and they really need to set up some proper fencing and barriers to stop the poltergeist weed before it really takes hold. And they need someone like you to build the special kind of fencing that'll keep the weed out. But it's very hard to source the specific type of transcendent steel that you need for that kind of fencing. Poltergeist weed can grow through almost anything. And the only people you know, the only source that you can find for this special steel are Tango Foxtrot, a group of smugglers based out of the Red Empire. And they are not well disposed towards you. So, you know they don't like you. They're not going to give it to you for a fair price. They may well not give it to you at all. So you're going to have to think about how you're going to get this steel from them. And I guess let's talk about how we start a mission in this game. So if you go to the cheat sheet tab in the Keeper, I've tried to move all the rules and tables and things like that you might need to reference. It might look a bit overwhelming, but I think it's organized enough that you can find things as you need them. But what you'll see there in the second column is about planning the mission. And what you need to do to start your mission is to figure out which of the 6 types of mission this is going to be: battle, deception, stealth, technical, social, or transport. And for any of those, you're going to define a detail. You're welcome to go right ahead and tell me what sort of mission it's going to be. Or if you want to try and find out some more information about what's going on before we start, you can make some collecting information rolls. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that column, you'll see how those work. So what do you think? What's the plan, Seagulls?
Just to be clear, that's the name of our team, right?
You are the Seagulls.
Got
You're
it.
a group of magpies called the Seagulls.
Cool. I think Uncle Doctor would like to gather some information because these folks, this Tango Foxtrot outfit seems a little prickly, and Uncle Doctor knows somebody who has had some kind of dealings with them in the past, specifically his great grandson, Jack Garland, who I think is on the run from these guys or is otherwise like out of favor.
All right.
So if it's all right, I would like to have Uncle Doctor go and, have a stern talking to with this wayward youth, and try to figure out something about these smugglers.
Is there anything in particular that you're trying to find out?
I want to find out. I want to find out what they want most of all. Something that might, if we had it, might convince them to give us the radiant steel for a fair trade.
Okay, so I reckon you're going to need to make a roll to figure it out. What action would you use to find out what your wayward friend can tell you?
Well, I have a point and connect. Probably
connect with people emotionally, persuade from a position of genuine belief. Yeah. Okay.
I think that this is Uncle Doctor talking to this kid, and it's the kind of like halting. I think that the old man he gained his sort of personality from was himself not particularly personable. So this is Uncle Doctor talking to him in a very kind of like, well, if you know what's good for you kind of way. But I think that he's trying to talk to this young man about like, if we can figure out what they want, maybe we can get you off the hook.
Right. So I've just posted a link to our dice roller in the chat if you need that. But go ahead and roll to connect. So that's 1 dice, right? 1 die.
I believe so. Yes. So
I think for a collect information roll, we're not setting position and effect and things like that.
Okay. Here I go. I got 3.
You got a 3, so you get the bare basics and details may be missing. So I guess that like the only thing that he can really tell you, he just doesn't know that much about what's going on. But he knows that Tango Foxtrot have been having problems with the Rust Devils, and if you could do something to sort of damage the standing of the Rust Devils, that would certainly help to win over Tango Foxtrot. Does anyone else want to try and gather some information before you decide how you're going to tackle this?
I'd like to try to find out why they're mad at us specifically.
How are you going to go about trying to find that out? Well, actually, I mean, that's something that you must already know, right? So I don't think you need to roll for that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, do I need to roll to find out exactly what Jack lost?
I mean, I'm sure that Jack can tell you that. Do you want to define for us what it was that Jack lost for them?
This is us doing like the good adult, bad adult routine on Jack. I've been very stern and scolding, and Kludge is maybe trying to be a friend here.
So I think if I can just go ahead and straight up define this and make stuff up.
Yeah.
Let me have a second while I look at my playbook here. I think the problem is that they trusted Jack to be able to do this on his own because it was such a small package, but it had some fairly valuable cargo in it. And it's not that it was stolen or, otherwise we could get it back. It's that he just straight up lost it. And unfortunately, I think it had to do with some kind of transcendent titanium wire. So to the extent that this transcendent steel that we need is hard to get, this transcendent titanium wire is damn near impossible to get. Now, as far as I know, it wasn't intended for anything. And honestly, if Jack had it taken away from him, I think I probably would have beaten him up for it because that's something that I would want. But it's not really something that we can replace. So I think from my angle, I'd be looking at trying to find out if there's anything that we can do to kind of even the odds or like kind of square it up. Make it right, as it were.
All right. I'm interested that the approach so far seems to lean towards trying to like make things right with the enemy faction rather than rob them or whatever else. But that's cool.
Well, maybe the case that we can't and we just have to steal it.
All right. So do you want to is there a way that you would go about trying to find out more about what it is that that Tango Foxtrot would want?
Well, let's see.
I mean, it's not obvious to me that that's something that you could find out like before you start the mission, but if there's a way that you would approach that, I'm open to it.
It strikes me that, I mean, our mayor has to do something with them every so often, right? I mean, there's smugglers, but you can't be a political leader or a leader of a community without dealing with a smuggler every now and again at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be the case that Heldon could answer that. Or, maybe there's rumor like a rumor through the grapevine about it. Maybe Heldon could reach out. What do you think?
Yeah, I buy that. So I think that again, you're going to need to make an action roll to
Yeah.
figure out. A collect information roll. What ability would you use for that, or what action?
Let's see. You know, and I'm not saying this because this is one of my better stats. I think Decipher, because it allows me to decipher a person's true intent, do research, analyze data, figure things out.
Yeah, that does seem right. Okay, go ahead and roll 2d6.
All right. And then can I push myself on this?
I
Or is
don't
there
see
a
why
devil's
not.
bargain?
I'm not sure. So in this game, a Devil's Bargain is called a Lotus Gambit.
Okay.
I am not sure about the actual rules answer to these questions for collecting information before the mission. I think you can push yourself. I don't have a great suggestion for a Devil's Bargain at this point, or a Lotus Gambit. But if anyone else does, I'm happy for someone to jump in with a suggestion.
I mean, I've got a suggestion.
I think.
Go ahead.
My suggestion is just that if you were to go to Heldon, then you owe Heldon a favor.
I was thinking the same thing, except I owe Tango Foxtrot of the favor, one regardless of whether we fix it or not.
I'm into the Lotus Gambit is that you would owe Heldon a favor.
Okay. I'll totally take that.
So that'll get you an extra die?
Yeah. And then, so that's 3d6 total?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, a 6. So you find even more than you were looking for. The information might reveal unexpected secrets or opportunities, and you can definitely ask a follow-up question or two. The GM will give you good answers.
Okay.
So what Heldon can tell you is that things have been going well for Tango Foxtrot. The Red Empire has been in chaos with, there's division between the Imperials and their paladins. Security is bad across the Empire, which obviously is good for smugglers. The big problem they have, though, is the Rust Devils, and specifically the Rust Devils leader, Paladin Ananke Becken, really cutting into their profits. And so they've hired a group called the Lantern Agency to help with security and take care of Becken for them. They think that with Becken out of the way, the Devils will be easier to deal with, but that's basically what Heldon can tell you.
So, just to make sure, and this is a question of clarification. This is when they say take care of, they mean kill, right?
I mean, take out. Whether that's killing or getting rid of him some other way, they would be happy.
Okay.
I wanted to double check.
Go ahead.
What tone we were doing again, just so we're all on the same page. Because I thought that I wasn't sure. So,
Sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking. Like, do you mean what's the sort of general tone of the game?
Yeah, I'm misremembering, but I think in the beginning a lot of people were saying that they were hoping for this as a more lighthearted question mark wistful question mark type of game. And I think once we were jumping into a mission, then I think we're defaulting into Blaze in the Dark kind of tone, which makes sense, but I wasn't sure if is what we wanted to do or if we either way is fine with me, but I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page, I guess.
It's valuable for me to know this since I wasn't here when that agreement was made. So,
assassination feels kind of not Hope Punky.
Hmm.
I think that's a fair call. That's on me. Let me
That's okay.
recalibrate a little. So yeah, I think that like to answer Agus's question about tone, like I think you're right. Like what we did talk about was more of a like hopeful, positive, optimistic tone, a little bit lighter than what you'd expect for Blades generally. Just thinking about how to reframe this so that it sort of fits that tone better. So
How about
definitely,
personally? I feel like part of the grimness of this would be if it was just like a total sneak attack. You know, I'm imagining for something that is a little bit more. I don't know about lighthearted, but like it's sort of more of like a western. You've got these two groups, and it's like there's only room enough in this town for the one of us, and so it's a more of like a face to face confrontation, and it's like you can get out of town or we'll clash, rather than like I'm gonna sneak into your quarters with a knife.
yeah. I mean, let's just sort of take out the detail about like they want to take him out. The Tango Foxtrot have hired the Lantern Agency to help them deal with the Rust Devils. We'll sort of leave that broadly defined, not to take out anyone in particular, but certainly like some of these factions to me are akin to like the Horde in Shira or something like that, where we're probably not going to see them kill anyone, but you can imagine that the leaders are giving pretty harsh instructions about wiping people out and stuff like that. Does that work for everyone?
Agatha?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kluge, you have one or two follow-up questions that you can ask if you want, or we could come back for that if you want.
How could we get Tango Foxtrot to retain the Rust Devils as their shipment security? To basically get them to kind of kiss and make up, as it were, so they both have a win-win in the deal, as opposed to, the Rust Devils giving Tango Foxtrot grief and causing a loss of shipments and that sort of thing.
That is a very good follow-up question. I might again put it to the table. Does anyone have a thought on what Heldon might think about that? How you could engineer a rapprochement between a reconciliation between Tango Foxtrot and the Rust Devils?
Are we trying to trick them, or are we trying to give them a good reason?
I am a young innocent, so I am looking at everything at face value. So if I can figure out a way to kind of act as a go-between, no trickery on my part.
I mean, one thing that comes to mind, and again, I'm happy for us to define this at the table because it's not something that is planned, is that if you could convince the Tango Foxtrot that they have bigger problems in the Red Empire itself, that they might be convinced of the value of an alliance with the Rust Devils. Like if you can convince them there's a bigger threat.
Right, but first we've got to get in the door with them.
True.
Because they don't like us very much.
So maybe what we can do is bring proof of the Red Empire's encroachment, and then to be like, hey, this is a warning, and as a warning about impending trouble, and we're all in this together. I think it'll be best if we all work together, that kind of thing. So get decisive proof that will be advantageous for them as well, so that they can prepare maybe for an impending attack. I don't know, like that.
So that would involve like a journey like out of relatively safe territory, right? Or maybe we'd have to find some of those Red Empire operatives
Observatory.
closer to home.
Oh yeah, we do have an observatory. Wait, what is the function of our observatory?
Good question. I think there's a little note there to tell you.
Yeah, observatory.
My suggestion, and this is coming from the mouth of Uncle Doctor, why don't we just find what they're looking for, or rig up a suitable duplicate. Give them
it's rare. It's really rare stuff. You don't just find transcendent titanium wire hanging around anywhere. Rigging up a substitute. Look, the impedances on transcendent titanium wire are such that if you try to forge it, it's going to be obvious to anybody with a voltmeter. I mean, it's not even. This is stuff that I teach 5-year-olds.
I think you're giving these hooligans too much credit. After all, they trusted my own callow youth Jack with transporting this material. It doesn't speak very highly of their.
They weren't going to check him. Like any security patrol wouldn't bother checking a kid because what's a kid going to have on him? It made sense. They just didn't know that he was that careless with things. That really he's just kind of how can I? He's a putz.
On that we can agree. I think that we should try to find this transcendent wire. A hunt for where it has gone missing.
So it sounds like the approaches that people have suggested so far are either technical, which is about finding some of this wire, maybe deception to try and trick them into thinking they have a bigger threat, or social to negotiate or bargain or persuade with them. We're coming up to the top of the hour and we'll take a short break then. But I want to ask Savati and Rona if either of them wanted to gather any more information to help with that decision. Savati?
I don't know exactly what to search for, so I'm okay with starting things and then think about it retroactively.
Yeah, for sure. Rona, is there anything that you want to collect information about?
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. So then, how are we going to decide which of these approaches are you going to take? Deception or stealth or social? Deception or technical or social, I think are the main ones we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think it sounds like we don't want to go deception, so it'll be between technical and social. Ultimately, as a player, it doesn't matter to me either or. I'm okay with either. So, does anyone have a strong leaning?
Do we have anybody who's good at social stuff?
So I'm just going to say, if this is a factor for you, when you make your engagement roll, you're going to take a dice penalty if the plan is particularly difficult. And I feel that a social approach to a faction that you have a negative relationship to, you're probably going to take that penalty. So of those two options, I'm happy with either way you want to go, but that's something you might want to consider.
If we choose the technical, will the detail be like the observatory? Or what is the technology that we were using?
So I think that the technology or technique would be that you're looking to find more of the transcendent titanium wire. Which I imagine could only possibly be found somewhere fairly dangerous and difficult, like the Shatter.
Tell me, Shane.
Let's do that then.
What is
I really like that.
Sorry, Ian, what did you say?
I said I want to know what the shatter is.
Good question. So if you look at the map of Pine Lock, the Shatter is that big, jagged red space in the middle, and what it is, sort of more specifically, the center of Pine Lock is dominated by the Shatter, a region of broken earth and upswollen mantle that pours out across the continent in massive lava flows. The Daring sometimes try to harvest rare metals from the area. So,
Rare metals, you say?
rare metals.
To be clear, I think that anything that we can bring to the what are they called? The Tango. Anything that we can bring to Tango Foxtrot is only going to be a stopgap measure, and eventually we're going to have to resolve some of those enmities. I mostly think that if we can bring them the wire, then we can like get to the social plan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see this part as like you deciding what we're actually going to play out. Like, what's the actual content of the adventure? Like, if you want to focus on the part where you find the transcendent wire, then that's a technical mission, and we'll play that out, and then we might fairly quickly and summarily skip over the social part. But if you're more interested in the social part, then we'll make that the actual focus of the mission.
I think having chosen the magpies, the technical is like the more appropriate to what we had in mind originally. I don't
Yeah.
mind the political stuff though. I think it's cool, but I think it will be like interesting to start in a place of relative comfort to what we usually do.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it seems like generally people are leaning towards technical. Is everyone happy if we decide it's a technical approach?
Sure.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Agatha, I'm pretty sure you said that you were into that before. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, sweet. So we're going to take a technical approach and try to find the titanium wire. We're at the top of the hour, so let's take a break here and we'll come back and make an engagement roll and get into it. So we'll come back in about 10 minutes, if that's okay for everyone. Sweet. All right. Is everyone ready to make an engagement roll? So,
as ready as I'll ever be.
So this is going to see how well you have approached this mission to find the wire. So you're going to start. Sorry, I'm again reading off the cheat sheet tab. It's a little way down that second column. The engagement roll starts with 1 die just for sheer luck, and we're going to build or subtract from that based on a set of factors. So is the plan particularly bold and daring? I have to say that deciding that you're going to find the incredibly rare metal in the middle of the Shatter does seem particularly bold and daring to me, so I'll give you 1D for that for sure. I don't think it's overly complex, maybe verging on, but seems all right to me. I don't think... Well, do you think that it's particularly effective at accomplishing the goal or exploiting a major weakness?
Okay. Let's rewind for a second about the complex part.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you just say, we are heading into the most dangerous area possible to find something that's incredibly rare, I think that that's probably a little bit more complicated than our plan suggests, because it kind of sounds like we're just going to to put it into Lord of the Rings terms, it sounds like we're a bunch of hobbits who are just going to go lark around Mordor for a while.
Yeah. I don't know. What do other people think?
I do have to admit that it's possible that, we're not going to find... I mean, A, we're probably not going to find the wire that was lost. B, we might not find just like another source of wire that has already been made, and that leaves us with trying to just like get the kind of molten metal to make the wire,
or find something else of a comparable value that we can trade.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, well, you've talked me into taking away a die for that. So back to one die.
Look,
do you
I know
think-
I'm not going to be. I know I'm not playing in the next session because of how the sign up thing with the gauntlet works. Like, I'm okay with like Uncle Doctor getting a little roughed up in this.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone will be fine. Is the plan particularly effective at accomplishing the goals or exploiting a major weakness?
I mean,
Probably not.
it sounds like it'll be effective if we find something, and if we can get it to the group that wants it. I mean, we do have somebody who could maybe kind of like act as a go-between, so we could square things up there. But this is kind of a stab in the dark, I think. Does that seem about right? Almost a blade in the dark? Sorry.
The
That's your one, my dude. That's the one that you get.
Did we just lose a die for that too?
No, I think that you're steady on your your dice for now. So it doesn't seem like the plan is particularly effective or particularly ineffective. So no gain or loss there. Can a friend, contact, or community member help with this mission?
I mean, Heldon kind of did.
I mean, Heldon gave you some information, but can Heldon or someone else actually help with the mission itself?
Oh, okay, like go along with it.
Provide some sort of support. Agatha, were you thinking about something?
Yeah, hold on. Let me
Sure.
need to find the Magpies page. Hold on. Right. I feel like it is Heldon, actually, because Heldon is associated with the observatory, and like Heldon can point us out in a specific direction to be like, my keen eyes see perhaps strange movements in this direction.
Yeah, because I mean, Kluge did roll really well to get information from Heldon, so I buy that Heldon actually had like some more specific information about how you might find some of this wire. So okay, that will bring you up to 2 dice. I don't think that there's a rival or enemy interfering with the operation. I don't really think that there are any other elements to consider in particular, especially because it's our first week. So that is just 2 dice. Who wants to make the roll?
I guess since
you've
it's
been volunteered.
Oh, good call.
Okay, so it's 2 die, right?
Yeah, that's right. A 4. All right. So you're going to start in a risky position. And I think that the risky position that you're going to start in, well, sorry, you need to declare your load at the start. So I think everyone knows how load works. You're choosing, what is it, light, normal, or heavy, which will determine how many items you can declare during the mission itself. Is everyone clear on that?
Since we're going into the Shatter, which doesn't seem to be like a populated area to the best of our knowledge, there's all different kinds of forms that life can take in this post cataclysmic world. But I'm gonna go heavy because there's nobody for us to like scare. There's not really anybody around. It doesn't seem like we're really like rushing here to complete this job. There's not like it's not very time sensitive, so we can afford to like move a little more slowly. So I'm going to go heavy.
Makes sense. Everyone decided on their load.
Yeah, I'm going heavy too.
Is everyone going heavy? Rona, what are you doing?
I'm going normal. I think how I'm thinking about it is like every time Rona will probably just go one lighter than everyone else. So that she could be like, light on your feet.
Nice.
Just don't expect me to carry ammunition for you. I'm
Klooch,
not
what's your
carrying
load?
your stuff. Oh, I'm going heavy. You kidding me?
All right.
Yeah, this is Uncle Doctor with like the Dr. Doppler outfit from Treasure Planet, where it's just like a full like lava protection suit, like big backpack full of like different instruments and things to take measurements with.
Okay. So I think that what Heldon was able to tell you was that there's an old mining complex in the Shatter. It was abandoned. He's not really sure why it was abandoned, but they hadn't found titanium wire, but there were some suggestions or signs that something like that might be down there. That's why they persisted with it for so long when they weren't really turning anything up. So you've found your way into the mine. You noticed some signs on your way here that there have been people of some kind in the area. Some signs of encampments and things like that that have been set up fairly recently. But as you head down into the mine, it's dark. It's very hot inside because the lava still flows around here. I think that
Uncle Doctor's flashlight eyes are like beaming in the dark.
I think that the first challenge that you've got is just trying to navigate down here. Like, how are you going to try and find your way to whatever it is that you need to find?
I think I would probably scout ahead. Just like ask everyone to stay, and then I'll be back.
All right. Do you want to roll for that? To see
Yeah.
what
Okay.
what action do you want to use?
Let trace? Huh. Wait.
Trace makes the most sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that that's probably we decided it was a risky action. I think it's probably standard effect. You can find a path that'll lead closer to where you need to be. How many dots do you have in trace?
I have 2.
Are you happy rolling 2? Do you want to push yourself? Do you want to Lotus Gambit?
Yeah. Before that, I have a question. What is harmony again?
Yeah, so harmony is a resource that the group as a whole has. You start each mission with 2 harmony. It's recorded on the crew tab. You gain harmony. Sorry, I need to double check. Where are we?
One of the ways that you get it is when you roll a desperate action, right?
So it's only if you roll a 6 or a critical result on a desperate action or a teamwork maneuver.
Okay. Right, and somebody's special ability is that they get it on risky rolls too, right?
Yes, that's mine. That's why I was asking. I wanted to be sure.
Just if you roll a 6 or a critical.
All right.
Would you like some assistance, Rona?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I could. How would you want to help?
Can I say that maybe it's like old or it has been like melted slightly, but can I say that there's still like some schematics of the mining facility that are incomplete or damaged or something?
Sure. So you're going to assist in the sense of taking 1 stress to give +1d. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not totally sure the way that like assistance works compared to blades. I assume that's the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way that assistance works.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think that all the teamwork mechanics are the same as in blades. I might be wrong.
Then yeah, I will try to decipher. I'm not gonna capital D decipher, but I'm gonna try to like give Rona a place to start, for
Okay.
example.
So that's got
Well,
you sitting at
I'll take a
take
stress.
1 stress. Yeah. So Rona, you've got 3 dice. Are you happy with that, or do you want to build that up
Yeah,
some more? Cool.
I'll go with that.
Well, go ahead and roll.
Okay. So many tabs. 3.
Nice. So you can mark 1 harmony, and you do it. So let's see. I don't know. I guess we should start a clock to see whether you find or how long it takes you to find the wire. So I've got a clocks tab in the Keeper.
That's almost all the way to the right, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Let's say it's a 6 increment clock, and we'll tick it off 2 times because you rolled a 6. So you know the way to go, but it's getting sort of precarious. Like you found the path, but you have to navigate some lava drifts to get to it. So
Can I get like a description of like what it looks like inside or what it feels like, or do you want us to all do it? But anyway, I just kind of want to
well,
get
do
a
you want to tell
feel.
us what it looks like? What do you see
Oh,
as you work your way down?
oh, well, yeah, it's the Shatter. So I think one of the big things is actually the smell of sulfur. It's a real sting, and I feel like that's one of the things that people like joke about the Shatter. Like sometimes like around, I don't know, like at home when people let out air, then people are like, did you just come from the Shatter, or things like that. And so like and like I have that idea in my mind as I'm like going in, but like to actually be there and then feel the temperature rising and then smell the sulfur, it's like so different. It's like as I feel like my skin like just like heating up, I realize that there's a reason why people call it the Shatter and they warn you about it.
But yeah, I mean the darkness which has been illuminated just by your light sources, the Uncle Doctor's eyes and things like that, sort of gives way to this red glow of the lava that radiates, through these dark caverns and pathways. But it's clear that to continue to progress, you're going to have to get past that lava, which looks like at best a precarious pathway. What do you want to do?
I think I will communicate. Oh yes, I should check off that part of my load. Because I have multiple like comms things. There's basic comms, and then there's also the comms pack. Not quite. Oh, I guess basic comms is like it's a short distance, which, and if it's like italicized, that means that it's like 0 load, right? Question mark.
I do not know the answer to that question. I'm sorry.
Oh,
But
that's okay.
yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, I buy that you all have earpieces that you can use to communicate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Oh, and also it doesn't work. So not sure. Anyway,
GM,
yeah.
are there like many of these lava flows, or is there like one big one?
So I'm picturing that like the path, the tunnel that you're trying to follow is interrupted by this long stretch of lava. There are occasional rocks like poking up out of it, but they're spread quite far apart. So It could be a matter of like leaping from one to the other, or of trying to climb along the rock face or something like that. But that's what you see, or at least what Rona sees ahead.
One of the things that I can mark that's part of my specialist tools and kits here on my sheet is a jump kit.
Oh.
I don't know exactly what that means.
So I think that you should be able to get a little pop-up note if you float over it.
Yeah, it says here hip-mounted grappling hooks, magnetic gloves and boots, pigeons, rope carabiners, useful for scaling cliffs, maneuvering in zero G, or navigating urban terrain quickly. What I was going to try to do, per your approval, is I was going to try to rig my jump kit into a kind of like a video gamey jump pad that people could use to like leap over the lava.
Oh, okay. I
Or
buy this.
create some kind of thing that would allow for everybody to get across rather than just myself. It could be like a zip line or something.
Yeah, so I'm happy for you to use an action roll to try and create something that will get everyone across. Or you could try like leading a group action if you want to tackle it that way.
I think I think Uncle Doctor is definitely more skilled in the creation than the actual usage of the stuff.
Right.
I mean, making stuff is basically what I do.
Yeah.
Kluge, do you want to assist with the project?
Well, I can actually just mark. Hang on a second here. With Charm Hack, I can push myself and just do it.
Oh.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can mystically assemble new technology from available materials, scrap, and old tech.
Which there's plenty of around here, it seems like, in this like decrepit mining facility.
Yeah, so I guess it's not clear to me. Can you push yourself if you're not making a roll? Does push yourself just mean mark 2 stress, or does push yourself mean mark 2
Push
stress?
myself just. It just says you may push yourself to do one of the following:
Okay.
Instantly repair or sabotage technology in the immediate area, mystically assemble new technology from available materials, scrap, and old tech.
All right.
I think for other moves I have read too, it's a cost for doing something in the fiction.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
All right. So that is done.
All right. I'm gonna check off.
This is Uncle Doctor like unpacking his knapsack and everything, getting ready to assemble this whole thing. And by the time he turns back around, Kluge has already like concentrated and like assembled like a bridge or like a swing or some kind. And he's looking up, flashlight eyes blinking, like there's no need to show off.
It's a mine. We craft. This is mine crafting.
Oh my God.
Oh, the puns are thick and fast today.
You've really opened the door for like some creepers to come up behind us, and I want you to own that if it happens.
All right. So I think that with the equipment that you've sort of jerry-rigged, it's going to be much easier for you all to get across, but it's still going to be a group action to use the equipment to navigate the lava. So someone needs to nominate themselves to lead the group action. All of you will need to make an action roll using the same action. It'll be it'll very likely be a controlled action because you've got equipment to support it. And the single highest result that you roll will count as the result for the whole team, but whoever's leading the action will take 1 stress for each PC who rolls a 1 to 3. Savati, do you want to be? You haven't really taken an action so far. Do you want to lead the group across the lava?
Sure. I'm not sure what that what attribute would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it might make sense to think about an action and then think about who's good at it.
Yeah.
It could probably be something like handle. If we're operating the machinery rather than like jumping, maybe that's something that could work. Maybe it would help. Kluge, could you give us like a clearer picture of like what the thing that you have constructed is?
Okay. Rona, when you told us about the lava, what did you say we needed? How did you describe it?
I said that, okay, it's precarious because there's not a lot of good footing.
Okay.
And so I said we either needed a way to keep going forward without necessarily stepping on the ground all the time, or we needed something to protect us from the extreme heat of the lava.
Yeah. So, in response to that, I basically would have said, yeah, levitation's easier. I mean, that takes less materials. I don't have to make suits for people or like really heavy boots. Okay, what's over here? And started pulling out little bits of mining equipment and things like that to basically create some sort of levitating platform. Probably would have put at least a couple static lines on there so that you could like tuck your feet into them so you'd be less likely to fall, or tuck an arm through them or something like that. But it's basically a levitating platform that probably uses some sort of energy-based mining equipment as the repulsors to keep us off the lava, away from whatever passes for a floor in the mine.
Yeah, so I think that the actions that make sense are probably handle or maybe wayfare. Savati, do you want to lead a group action using one of those?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's like handle is like something, and wafer is nothing. So I would prefer handle. But
All right, so everyone's going to make a handle check, and the single highest result across the group will count as the result. And Savati's going to take some stress if people roll badly. So we'll do this one at a time because the dice roller will crash if everyone rolls at the same time. Savati, do you want to make your roll first? So you're starting with one dice. Do you want to push yourself or look at a Lotus Gambit or something like that?
I already rolled it, so that's okay.
Okay.
I didn't remember.
That's all right. So I'll go in the order I can see you. Uncle Doctor, can I get you to roll?
Sure. Yeah, I've got
also...
1 point. Got 1 point in what's it called, in handle, and I'll just go. I'll go for it.
Nice.
I also got a 4.
Kluge, do you have any dice in handle?
I do, but I would also be interested in hearing about a Lotus Gambit.
A Lotus Gambit. I think that the Lotus Gambit that I would offer here is that whoever the people are whose camps you found are getting closer, and we'll set up a 4-tick clock for you to run into them.
I'm sure they're friendly. Okay.
Yeah, they're fine. It's okay.
I mean, they couldn't be creepers, right? Maybe creeps.
Creepers don't make camps.
All right, I've put 1 tick in the 4-tick clock. Go ahead and...
Look at that. The second die is a 6.
Hell yeah.
Excellent. So that makes the group's result a 6. And so far, no extra stress for Suwadi. Rona, you're up next. How's your handle?
I have 0 in handle. Let's see. I don't know if we already have a Lotus Gambit. I would love to hear a Lotus Gambit as well.
I mean, this is kind of boring, but obviously my first thought is to like tick that clock again and bring the whoever's lurking around here a bit closer.
Ooh.
It's possible that like this process that we're engaging with could like destabilize the mine shaft in some way.
You might lose balance and inadvertently injure yourself. Catch some splash from lava or some heat damage or proximity burn.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go for like start a new clock for the mine shaft collapsing.
That is
I mean,
too
we are
good
using
not
mining
to
equipment.
take. I can't say no to that. That's so.
All right.
Okay.
And the good news is
Yeah.
it can take care of those creepers.
Yeah,
But you
sure.
said they must be friendly.
All right.
Collapsing the mine shaft is good, actually.
Yeah.
All right. So, how many dice are you rolling?
1.
Cool.
Unless I can use harmony. Is that how you use harmony?
I believe you can spend 1 harmony if everyone's happy for you to use a point of the group's harmony. You generated one before, didn't you? So harmony's marked on the magpies tab. There's a weird little flower diagram in the top right. But yeah, you can spend a harmony to add a die if everyone is good with that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Where does it explain harmony in the?
Yeah,
Is it in the cheat sheet
I will
or
need
no?
to add that to the cheat sheet. At the moment, it
Okay.
doesn't say it anywhere.
That's totally fine. I was just like, my
No, that's
eyes
okay.
are they okay? Can I read? Okay, cool. Yeah. So if everyone's okay with it, I would love to spend the harmony that I generated
Sure.
before.
Everyone has nodded or affirmed.
Sweet. All right. So then I will have 2 dice. Oh, so rich. 2 dice.
5. That's good. All right, so the group's result is 6, meaning that you all do it. You all rolled well enough that Savati is not taking any extra stress on the situation. Savati, do you want to like narrate what it looks like as you navigate everyone across?
I think that Sibari is like more used to the anti-gravity stuff. Like I think their powers like in some way intersect with this. So like she's like more confident in this, and like I think like she goes first, and then like hold out a hand so the next one can take my hand and follow, and like so like then everyone is crossing and like taking our hands and such.
Nice. So you arrive at the other side. I mean, anyone who was bringing a heavy load in particular must be like sweating buckets and exhausted at this point, having traversed the incredibly hot lava. I mean, Rona as well, but all of you.
Yeah, nobody better give Uncle Doctor a high five right now because the surface of his skin must be like so hot.
And you see ahead of you now that the path diverges. So how are you going to decide which way to go? One sort of more, you've headed down below the Earth's surface quite a way. And now one path sort of leads further down into the Earth, and one part is more sort of continuing horizontally. They're both winding enough that you can't see very far ahead.
Per the group's approval, I think Uncle Doctor is going to like open the little panel on his chest that has the sort of like transistors and other kind of like circuit breakers in them. He's going to like push a button, and the glow from inside him is going to increase as he activates Charm Sight. I'm going to push myself to temporarily enhance my senses to pierce solid matter.
Oh, amazing. So, okay.
If you need me to make like a decipher check or something like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about whether. Yeah, so I think. Well, I'll give you a choice. Like, your charm sight by itself will just tell you the way you need to go, or you can use it in combination with an action roll to see what extra information you might be able to get out of this situation.
I definitely want to do that, given that we've got collapsing tunnels and creepers. Not that we necessarily
the
know
tunnel,
about that.
Creaked ominously, but I wouldn't say it's collapsing at this point.
Right. Not that we necessarily know about the creepers either, but I think it does. You can't be too careful when you're deep underground in the Shatter. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
now, because I'm pushing myself to do this, do I just get the normal effects of pushing myself as well?
Yeah, I reckon you do.
Okay. In that case, I'm rolling 3 dice for this decipher.
Can't tempt you with a Lotus Gambit.
Do you have something on deck?
Well, it's going to be a tick on either of the clocks of your choice, either the creepers or the collapse.
I got a thought. Your eyesight malfunctions and is not usable when outside of the cave.
Because it's like really hot down here, or like some of the
just
like
reasons
finer...
it stays stuck like that. And when you merge into the light, you are not able to use it until it is appropriately repaired.
That's cool, but I think I'd rather take the creeper's clock.
The creeper's clock, all right.
Yeah, so I'm rolling 4 dice then.
Nice.
So I'm lousy with dice.
And I think that this is like a risky standard roll.
Okay. So I'm naming this What's Down There. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 dice. Okay, here we go.
5.
A 5. Yeah.
So that is going to be you're doing it with a consequence. So tell us about like how this charm sight works. Like, do you see things clearly in color? Do you see like thermal imagery? Like, what do you see exactly?
Yeah, I think I mean, it says my senses, not necessarily my sight. Okay. And I want to say that like kind of Iron Giant style, like Uncle Doctor's head is kind of like open up, like fold open, and inside there's a kind of array of like different antennas that are like blinking with different sort of lights. And I think that he's going to activate like a kind of sonar ability to send out some kind of like ultrasonic pulse through the cave and try to like map the reflections coming off of it. And also, I think he also has like a bunch of like lenses and microphones and things that are like Inspector Gadget like coming out of his head, but the one that he's using right now is this kind of like sonar ability.
Nice. So I mean, I think that what you'll see then, like you find some of the wire. It's in the tunnel that extends horizontally, it's sort of winding way. It's oddly bundled. It looks, it's obviously not fallen naturally in that shape. It looks like something has shaped it into some sort of mound or pile. And you can tell that there's some sort of creature, unclear what kind, something quite small is sitting on that pile, sitting by that pile. And you can also see that between you and it, there is some other small creatures, maybe insects or something like that. Does that feel like I'm giving you enough of an answer to your question?
Sure. Yeah, like I'm getting a lot of to put this in sort of auditory terms, like I'm getting a lot of like soft or muffled or like warm responses, and then where it touches the titanium or something, it's like a ping, like a very pure metallic tone. And then and surrounding that is like all of these sources of like they're like cotton balls compared to the response that I get from the titanium.
Yeah. I think that that it will also distinguish whatever's sitting by the titanium with the like smaller, more insectoid things that are nearer to you. They're clearly two different kinds of creature. As the complication, I'm going to tick the other clock. There's an ominous creaking and cracking of the wall of the mine shaft by you, and it's clear to all of you that you don't have a lot of time.
Right. I'm sure sending out like a sonic pulse throughout the entire cave network probably not helping.
Some would say. Do you tell the others what you've seen?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think I want to be like, if I can like translate this information into some kind of like visual feedback,
Sure.
I want for my eyes to be able to like project it onto the cave wall to give them a kind of like not a map exactly, but like the general like a guesstimate at like the dimensions of the room.
Yeah.
Or the
tunnel. I love
that. And there's a creature on it?
There's lots of creatures.
Outstanding. I want that. But also, can you tell me what's down that way? And I point the other direction.
I mean, I assume I would have gotten some information about that, but
yeah, I mean, I think you essentially just see that tunnel extends downward for a long way, like past the limit of your senses.
It's that kind of, I mean, not to go back to the Minecraft thing, but like the sort of vertigo-inducing feeling of like looking down a like tunnel in one of those games that just like hits a vanishing point. Ugh, makes me shiver.
Kluge, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we loot this entire cave. If there's titanium wire, transcendent titanium wire in here, then there's got to be other stuff. And plus, if there's like little critters over there, there's friendos. Like not everything in here is bad. Like think about all the cool stuff we can find. Think about all the cool things we could bring back.
We can't just let the cave collapse on all of this like cool stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can dig a laser to come back. I can build a laser to come back out here and dig through it all again. But it's just that feels like a lot of work. Like a lot of unnecessary work. I mean, we're already here. But let's get that wire and find out what those friendos over there are. And then maybe we can get the rest of the stuff down at the bottom. If there's anything down there.
My God.
There probably is.
Kluge is really just like, hey, I'm going to the secret sunken mine shaft in the lava crater. You want me to pick anything up? Like
unless Agatha, Donna, unless this is not interesting to you, we can just like also just go get the wire and get out of here.
Well, we definitely got to get that wire.
Yeah, I think we can like. I was thinking like maybe we can even split. Like I was like just reading out my playbook gear. I know I just have done that yearly, but like I have a spirit beacon that is described as a pylon that can receive transcendent signals. So I think transcendent titanium wire must emit some transcendent signals. So maybe I was thinking like when at the same time that you are like searching something, I like setting this whole thing and like see if I can like locate the exact the precise location of the wire.
I mean, you can tell that everything is in basically the same direction. Like
Okay.
it's all kind of in the same area. So sorry to walk it back in the
That's
chat,
okay.
but probably not splitting the party quite yet.
That's okay.
What's the plan? Just to head down the tunnel and see what you find?
I mean, I guess, what do you think? I mean, technically, Rona's our kind of point person.
No, I just scout. I don't strategize.
Well, I mean, that's you're the one who knows how to do like military adjacent stuff.
I feel like at this point, Rona would be like, "Yes, I do," but as a player, I'm like, I don't. Yeah, either way is fine with me. I don't really.
All right,
have a
let's
strong
go.
opinion.
Let's go get the wire and see what other stuff is over there, and then maybe cruise down that tunnel and see what we got.
All right. So as you wind your way down the tunnel, you come to that first sort of bunch of life forms that Uncle Doctor had seen. And it's a colony of lava moths. So moth-like creatures that have wings made of lava. It's clear to you that they're not really in danger of being trapped down here if there's a collapse, so that's not really a concern. They can, there are tiny little passageways through the rock that air's getting in and out through, which they can probably navigate because they're so small. But they're also potentially quite dangerous if they're disturbed. And your destination is on the other side of the colony, which are starting to stir and sort of look towards you. And I'm not quite sure how moths communicate. Maybe they're rubbing their hind legs together to send signals to each other.
I'm imagining them like a sort of bed of coals that is sort of like that kind of like rippling like color striations through them. And as they start to wake up, like they start to like glow a little brighter.
Yeah, I think that's right. But like more clinging to the roof and the side of the wall rather than the floor.
Mm-hmm. My God, talk about vertigo inducing. Jeez.
Okay, speaking of creatures, I have a wildlife charm, which is a small device that emits an energy which catches the attention of local creatures and spirits. You can modulate the frequency to attract or banish, but you have no control over what you bring in or push away.
Do you want to use it?
I feel like this will have very bad consequences. Regardless, I think, like, yeah, in spotting all of these moths, like, I immediately, my hand goes to like one of my. Imagine I have like tool belt, either like a crossbody tool belt or like just a normal belt, and then I like go in there and like pick out this jumble. Like it's like I don't know if actually Kluge made this for me. Like it might be, so maybe Kluge, you can describe what your handiwork looks like, but it's like it's definitely has like two antenna that I will then like adjust to then send out this specific frequency.
And then what thing is it that you're using? You mentioned a charm something other?
It's called Wildlife Charm.
Okay, the wildlife charm.
Yeah.
Which will either attract or repel creatures, is that right?
Yes. Spirits and creatures.
Spirits and creatures.
I don't have control over what it attracts or repels, though. I can only control whether it attracts or repels.
So how will you use
God,
it?
Shane is smiling.
And I kind of look at it.
I would like to. Do you want to? Yeah, you can look at my page. Wait, what? Are you in character? Sorry.
I look at it and it's like, Rona, I think we could do this a slightly different way if you want. And I'd be happy to mark a toolkit and give you some somnic smoke, which basically, 2 seconds here. Let me flip back over to my tab. The somnic smoke causes immense incapacitating drowsiness. So instead of like pushing stuff away or bringing it to us, we could just, give them a nap for a while.
Clutch, but remember last time you used it and we all fell asleep?
Okay, that's a danger, yeah, but it's also, but what if there's something like nice back there? We don't want to scare it away.
Well, how will we use it this time without us also falling asleep? Is my question.
That's a very good question. Don't you have like a face mask or something, like some sort of oxygen system?
Are we using the oxygen system? Well, I do. We all do.
Well, there we go. We just we're in a cave. We should probably have that stuff on anyway. Otherwise, can you imagine the kind of dust we're breathing in down here? Like all the metals and stuff. Our lungs are probably magnetic by this point.
I love Klooch the hypochondriac. This is very fun.
I don't know whether we actually do or not. I just said that armor.
I was looking furiously, like, what am I missing? I don't think that is necessarily something you all have.
I have an infiltration kit. Does that include a mask?
You have a survival kit that includes various other wilderness survival tools, but I don't really see that a oxygen mask is a wilderness survival tool.
Okay, let's rewind my answer to Klooch's question by saying, no, I don't have one. Why would I think of bringing one?
Someone could use a flashback to have some oxygen masks.
Oh. I could also just whip some up because there's got to be tech around.
Does anyone want to flashback to get masks?
I could flashback.
Or some other equipment that would help you get past the moths.
Donna, what do you think?
I was thinking if maybe I could push myself and if you use the smoke, I can just wind it back far away from us.
That's awesome. So you're going to use your control of wind to channel the smoke.
Yeah, my charm break ability.
Yeah, I love that. So what does it look like when you use this ability? So Rona is Klooch is pumping out this smoke, and what do you do?
I think Sibari is meditating, she's channeling herself into the atmospheric pressure and things like that, really connecting with attuning with this place and feeling where the wind is right now and things like that. And suddenly a small breeze comes over and it's followed by a more intense wind, and rapidly the smoke start pushing far away from us.
Awesome. So you successfully put the moths to sleep and are able to navigate by them. We're at the top of the hour again, so let's take a 5-minute break and we'll come back and see what you find on the other side.
Okay.
Shane, how are you finding Songs for the Dusk so far?
I feel a bit mechanically overwhelmed. Yeah. I feel like I have not really got my head around Forged in the Dark games, and we'll definitely spend a couple of sessions trying to figure out how it's supposed to hang together. But the vibe is cool to me. I like the vibe.
I always I have a pretty good handle on the dice and the stress system and the what did you? I guess in Heart they're called fallouts. In this, I guess they're called like scars or something in Blades. It's always when I get to the downtime and I have to track all the factions and stuff that I start getting a little.
I'm dealing with browser issues right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Hello?
Puckett, are you okay to play? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Can you hear me? Hopefully just the classic log out and log back in. Agatha, how are you finding it?
I mean, I think the mental load is way lighter if you're a player. So I don't feel overwhelmed or like lost.
No.
Yeah. Is there a way that we can support you in like helping you feel less overwhelmed?
I appreciate you asking. Like, I will think about it. I think it'll just like come together, you know? Like,
Fair.
I'm also running the Twilight Throne, and I would say, yeah, the first 4 weeks I was like, what the fuck is happening? I do not know what I'm doing. This is too much. And then around the fifth, like actually in the fifth session, I was like, oh, wait, I get this. Like, this all makes sense now. So that's, well, hopefully it won't take that long. But it's pretty normal for me to like feel pretty stressed in the first session or two and then feel that it's come together more.
Okay. I agree though. When I first when I was on flight, I was like every session I feel like I need to ask like rely on players to be like, oh, I remember reading over this part of the rules. It should be like this. And I'm like, okay, good.
It's nice. It's nice when I mean I have like a copy of the rules open here on my desktop. It's nice when we all have access to that sort of thing and we can sort of look it up. Definitely an improvement over the old days of just like passing the one copy of the player's handbook around.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a decent grasp on the rules, but it's stuff about like pacing and how things, like how the mechanics interact with the role play. I think that's the part that is not so obvious to me. So I've just emailed Puckett back to say, I hope he can rejoin us. He's got a new message. He says, got to restart browser, please go on. So yeah, we'll continue and hopefully he'll be back with us in a couple of minutes. So as you continue down this tunnel past the sleeping moths, you see the wire, exactly like Uncle Doctor sort of projected for you back before, a big bundle, and you see now that it's been arranged like a nest. And sitting on the nest is a baby dragon. It's unmistakable that that's what it is. Even though it looks a little bit like a plucked chicken, and it had with sharper teeth and less beak. It's about the size of a chicken, and it looks a little surprised to see that anyone has come in here. I don't think that any of you have ever seen a dragon in person before, but you've heard of them, like you know what this is. What do you do?
Okay, so the did you say that the wires made a nest?
Yeah, the wire's been arranged into some sort of like bedding or nest for the baby dragon.
It's the beginning of like a dragon's horde.
Maybe.
Savati, do you do anything?
I'm not sure what dragons imply. Like, are dragons like a transcendent being, or are just like an animal?
So definitely more like a transcendent being. You're welcome to roll to collect information if you want to see what else you might know about dragons generally, or baby dragons, or this baby dragon, or something like that.
Sure. Yeah. Uncle Doctor will consult his memory banks. I don't know if that means like a discern or something like that.
Um, yeah, discern sounds like it could be the right action.
Okay. Yeah. So his eyes are sort of like suddenly lots of pages, lots of like photographed pages, just like flickering in front of his eyes as he's like going through the database.
And is there something in particular that he's trying to dredge up, or what sort of information
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I want to know some basics like, can a dragon talk? If I speak to it, will it understand?
So I mean, I
And
think
then,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, sorry, you go ahead, and then I'll answer some of these.
Beyond that, I want to know if there's anything that we can give it that will be like more desirable than this wire, especially like I would love to make a companion out of this thing, and if we can like coax it out of the mine in some way, that would be really great. But sort of baseline, I want to figure out how we can do the Indiana Jones move of like replacing something underneath the dragon.
And I'm just going to let Puckett back into the stream. Puckett, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Everything
Yes.
is now, but holy crap. Just locked up and wouldn't do anything. I apologize.
That's okay.
That's no problem.
What did I miss?
Well, just to let you know, you have found the wire, but you have also found that it has been bundled into some bedding or a nest for a baby dragon.
How cute!
And Uncle Doctor was just trying to find out some stuff about dragons. I think that I don't think you need to roll for that. Like that's some basic stuff that people might know. So dragons, magical creatures, transcendent creatures. They don't speak. They don't communicate in English. There might be some psychic or magical ways they can communicate by reputation, by legend. Is there something you can use to replace its bedding Indiana Jones style? I mean, I think that's really a question about what you have on hand that you might be able to use for something like that. And is there a way to win it over to you to get it to come with you? I mean, it's small enough that you could pick it up and carry it out under your arm, but you know that not all dragons are friendly.
I definitely want to try to tune to it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
Kluge, what does that look like?
I just kind of wave my index finger at it, wiggle it a little bit and say, "Hi. Hi, how you doing? How you doing, little one?" And considering that I have 0 dice in tune, I will push myself. And if anybody would like to offer what is it again? A lotus?
A lotus gambit.
A lotus gambit.
Well, I would offer you a tick on the creeper's clock.
That's it. Just where are we at on the creeper's clock now?
That at the moment you're at 2 of 4, so that would be them getting pretty close.
Okay. Any other ideas?
I could assist you if you would be into that.
Sure.
What would Uncle Doctor do to assist?
My thought is Uncle Doctor has a point in tune and could do that, but also I kind of want to assist Kluge in playing some kind of not exactly peekaboo, but something similar, like a game that you would play with a small an infant or a pet or something. My initial thought was to use my flashlight eyes to project some light that Kluge could I don't know, make shadow puppets against or something.
So Uncle Doctor can help.
Savati has 2 points in tune.
Yeah, and I have an idea for like maybe a system, or if you wanna leave it to me for my 3 points into it, it's okay.
You know,
Like I have a playbook gear that's called Talisman, and it says useful for fidgeting with, entertaining children, or leaving as shrine offerings. And I was thinking like maybe like those last two seems like really like interesting. Like this is a being I could offer, like I could leave an offering to, but also small children that might be entertained by some shiny things.
um, consider. I mean, you haven't rolled much, and I'd rather leave that to you. I'm excited about the idea of having a pet, but if you think that's, if you'd rather have the dragon like around your shoulders, I could like sulk about it. So
What's your idea for assistance, Donna?
Hmm. I mean, my like my idea was using the talismans and
Hmm.
leaving those as an offering or as an entertainment, and like see how it reacts. And my idea was the same for both. Like even if I assist or if I lead the action.
um, Rona, the other three members of your group have all keenly decided that they're going to try and adopt this dragon. How does that sit with you?
I don't really like it because I've heard tales of dragons, and I think a lot of those tales are dangerous, right?
but look, it's a little baby. It's a lizard with wings. It's not going to hurt anyone. Look at it. It's so little.
Yeah, but they grow up and then they are no longer little.
At this point, I'm making ooh eyes at Rona, like with
I,
like
I
tears welling up and saying, but it needs a home.
I think
I
I will
think
hold like the intermediate posture and say like I think we should treat them with respect and like be like respectful and careful about them, and like if they want to be leave alone, we should leave it alone, and if they want to come to us, then what we can do.
hmm. But we'll have to attune to it first in order to know what it wants or how it's feeling.
And I mean, I realize this might be kind of power gaming it. And Shane, if you want me to stick with pushing myself and getting that one die and then doing something else, as opposed to letting Donna do it
Oh.
with two die, I understand. Um,
No, that's fine. I'm definitely happy for you to like negotiate amongst yourselves about who's going to take the approach.
I kind of love the idea of Kludge and Uncle Doctor like arguing with each other in kind of like like hushed tones to like try not to disturb this dragon, and uh Savati sort of like pushing us out of the way. I'll handle this.
um, I think either one of us could assist in term, like, either I could make something, or I mean, that's my idea for how I could assist. Like, I could make it a new nest out of the stuff that's around.
I buy that. Rona, are you accept what they're saying? Do you have anything that you?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think that we should bring it to Lachlan. If we want, if this dragon wants to come with us, it can't come into Lachlan. We don't know what will happen. That's dangerous.
So you're saying that one of us would have to live outside Lachlan?
No. I'm saying that the dragon will stay here and we will go back to Lachlan. No one is moving anywhere.
She has a point. It does seem like it's in its natural habitat.
Yes.
Supernatural habitat, I suppose.
But look at it, it's so cute. How can you say no to a face like that?
Klooch, do you notice that we are sweating a lot and that the dragon is not sweating?
Now that you mention it,
I think to further compound Rona's salient point, we do live in a region called Pine Lock.
but we live in hollowed out crystals. We don't have to worry about the dragon setting things on fire.
I'm saying that the dragon is comfortable here, and we are comfortable in Lachlan without any potential danger that may be brought by a dragon, baby or not.
But if the Red Empire attacks,
should not live here.
If the Red Empire attacks, maybe the dragon could help us.
We can come here to ask.
But it'd be more helpful. It'd like us better if we raised it. We can give it all sorts of nice treats and a nice place to sleep and maybe not titanium wire, but we could give it like a really nice place to stay. We could make it a nest, like its own nest even. We could superheat it. We could find geysers or something like that and use steam heat.
This argument, I think, has to be going on in the background as Savati is approaching the dragon and beginning the attune process.
So why don't we play that out and we'll see what Savati learns or finds from tuning with the dragon. So you're starting with 2 dice. It sounds like you have an assist. If Uncle Doctor is gonna, did Uncle Doctor want to assist with that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it sort of depends on how Savati wants to use the talismans. But if there are more than one, and we can create sort of like a field of talisman energy, then I'm happy to take some of them and be your lovely assistant in this process.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Cool. So mark stress for an extra die. So that's
okay.
3d6. Savati, are you happy with 3 dice, or do you want to push yourself or look for another one?
I'm happy, but if someone has an interest in Lotus Gambit, I'm gonna hear it.
Look, it's not that interesting, but I'll again offer to tick the Creeper's Clock.
I've got a suggestion. For better or worse, the dragon attaches to one of us. It bonds with one of us.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, we do have a dice room that would allow us to roll D4, and we could randomly determine who it is. Although I think it'd be hilarious if it decided to bond to Rona. Would that be something you're okay with, Agatha?
I do feel like some kind of dragon related consequences is interesting.
At some point, a parent dragon is going to come looking for baby dragon.
I was going to say, if we're going to have a dragon related Lotus Gambit, it's got to be the mother returning, doesn't it?
That sounds lovely. So if I take that Lotus Gambit, that's 4 die, and I can no longer push myself because the Lotus Gambit.
Sorry. I just wanted to find the Lotus Gambit a little bit more clearly. Are we saying that the Lotus Gambit is that the mother dragon arrives right now? Are we saying that we're going to start another clock for that? Are we what is the specific Lotus Gambit?
Ooh. I feel like that feels like a clock. And it feels like a clock. I don't know what would trigger it, though, because it feels like something like a missed roll with the community triggers the mama dragon being one tick closer to finding baby dragon, and maybe us having to, figure out how to solve that problem or something like that. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
So what
maybe
I'm
it's like we learn that the mother dragon is there. Like if the roll it's okay, then like there's no immediate danger. But then if I roll badly, probably the mother dragon is like a close danger.
So I think that what I might propose is that it's a 4-tick clock for the mother dragon returning to this cavern, and we'll start it out with 2 ticks. So two more ticks for it to come back. That probably means that if you decide to leave the dragon here, it's not a problem for you. But if you sort of linger long enough for the mother to arrive back, that could be a problem. Or if you end up taking the baby dragon away and its mother comes back later, then you might have the problem of a new clock, which is about the mother dragon finding out where you've taken it. So that's
I think
how I'm.
that covers everything. Yeah, that's good.
I like it.
All right. So I'm starting a new dragon for mother arrives. So how many dice does that give you?
I have like 2 basic die, then 1 for Uncle Doctor helps, and then 1 for the Lotus Gambit. That's 4.
All right. So, and this must be a risky standard action. So go ahead and roll.
Hey, wait, risky? Not desperate? We're talking dragons.
It's just a baby. All right, a 4. So a success with a complication. The complication clearly has to be a tick on the clock to the mother arriving. So Savati, tell me about like how this works. Like, what is it like for you when you tune with a transcendent creature like this?
I think like I took out my talismans and like I start like very shiny objects. Maybe some of the objects are like charged with electricity. I gave Uncle Doctor the ones that are not electrically charged, so he can help me like around them, and like I like try to address the dragon in a very respectful manner, and like slowly approach them, and like maybe even bow a little, and
Mm.
like I want them to like they are sleeping, right? Like when right
Oh
now
no,
does no
it's watching the 4 of you very
okay.
curiously.
Okay, that's interesting. So I think I want them to find me the less threatening I can.
Hmm.
I made myself like really small, and like I don't look at it too directly, and like I just want to know what are they doing and what do they want, and if these trinkets are to their liking.
Mm. So I mean, it's definitely fascinated by your talismans. Talismans? I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, what it wants. It's been here alone for quite a while. It's a little bit wary of the 4 of you, but also happy to have company. Um, it it feels unsure if. I mean, it probably wouldn't think about its mother, but there were other dragons here before, and it's unsure if they're coming back.
Okay, I think I will like slowly talk to like over Clutch and Rona arguing, and said like I think there's more dragons around, and like we should be careful of this, but I think we can safely take the wire away.
Would it like a
And
different nest?
Yeah, I mean, what you get is that it doesn't. It's not particularly attached to the wire. If you leave it something comfortable to sleep on, then that will satisfy it.
Then I would like to make it a nest, like a nice one.
A nice nest. I think it probably is an action roll to create a nest that the dragon will appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a roll just to create like any old nest, but a nice nest is going to take dice.
So I would like to use some stuff from my tech tool belt, along with what's in the area besides the titanium wire that we need.
I mean, I think there's probably some bones of like whatever's been eaten here, but there's probably not really much other stuff around per se.
But bones can be used for structure. Like
Sure.
I can use bones and I can weave like wire around it.
What action will you use?
I think that's shape.
Right. That seems right. So again, it'll be a risky. Well, is it risky to build a nest for a dragon? I'm unsure. But
In a dragon's lair with the
I would,
mothers.
I would submit that we have enough clocks that are like
that are ticking.
hanging over our heads
Yeah.
that it probably is risky.
Okay, risky and standard again. How many dice do you have in shape?
I have 2 in shape, and do I get one for the for using my tool belt?
I think that's just fictional positioning, right?
Right, so it would be like risky great.
Right. Risky great. Yeah, risky with great.
Excuse me. How can I get that roll up to desperate?
Well, now that you're at great anyway, I don't know if there is a way. You want to roll a desperate action. I mean, if you just make it out of materials that are lying in the cave, then you don't get the bonus for your tool belt. So then you can trade position for effect, right? You can drop it down to a desperate action with great effect.
I'll just stick with the tool belt. So that's risky and great with what, 2 dice so far?
Do
right.
you want to push yourself?
I do. This dragon deserves a nice nest.
All right.
And then
I would help, but Uncle Doctor is like still holding the array of talismans around in different positions.
And I'm open to a Lotus Gambit. I'm always open to a Lotus Gambit.
Well, I will again offer you a tick on any of the clocks that are open.
And you said we have how many ticks left until the mother dragon shows up?
You only have 1 tick left for the mother to arrive. You have 2 ticks each left for the creepers to arrive or for the mine shaft to collapse.
Okay. Any other ideas from anybody?
I feel like we've got the things that we need in play already,
I will offer you the Lotus Gambit. Oh, I will offer you the Lotus Gambit that the dragon doesn't end up liking. The dragon ends up liking clues the least.
Aww. The most heartbreaking Lotus Gambit.
I know. Stab through the heart.
You know what? That's too funny not to take. So that gives me, 4 dice?
I think that's right.
And I have to mark 2 stress to push myself, correct?
That's right.
I don't think you can push yourself and get the Lotus Gambit. Like, they are exclusive.
Sorry.
Are they?
That's. Let me double check. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will take the Lotus Gambit and just roll 3 dice.
Cool.
Alrighty.
It's a 5. So you succeed, and there's a complication. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the nest that you end up building?
I have some really ornately woven bronze wire. It's more decorative than anything else. But I'm weaving it in between the bones so that the bones kind of like stick out and hold it into place, almost like weaving a basket, but with bones instead of reeds to hold everything together as the structural elements. And then I'm starting to lay some circuitry in there because I'm thinking, hey, if it likes a titanium wire nest, I mean, it's got to like circuitry, right? And probably putting some like little tiny chips and transistors in there. Like, basically, the nest has Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I have gone overboard with this nest.
Okay. Well, I think it makes sense that the complication is that it's taken long enough to build this ornate nest that the creepers have gotten a little bit closer.
Okay.
But and then Savadi and Uncle Doctor, so you've been kind of distracting or playing with the dragon while this is happening, and then do you stop now so that it will go to its new nest, or what do you do?
I was thinking like maybe we can like array the talismans over the new nest and like see if like it will follow the shiny things.
Leave them hanging like a mobile?
We're making a mobile, yeah.
That's nice.
That's the best.
That's beautiful. Rona, what are you doing while this is going on?
I don't even know what I would be doing. I think I'm kind of I think I'm probably helping build the mobile. Like, it's like, okay, the dragon's gonna stay here. That's good. I'm gonna help make this happen. But I think I'm also like I'm doing this, but I'm also like just keeping my eyes peeled because I'm like, we're spending a lot of time in here, and nobody else seems to be looking out for danger. So I guess I need to do it as I'm like folding a wire or whatever.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. So the dragon is definitely drawn to this beautiful nest and mobile that you've constructed for it. Kludge, it hisses unhappily at you as it climbs onto the new nest. It does not seem to like you at all.
Tears well up in my eyes.
Oh.
No one has ever seen me this sad.
Alright.
I just kind of wipe away at my nose with my shirt sleeve and say, it's okay. It's okay. Dragon's got a nest.
This box is the box that these headphones came in, and I offered it as a gift to my partner's cat. She has taken the gift, but we're not on any better terms than we were before that. So this is the nest that you have built.
Does anyone say anything to Kludge as she cries sadly? Or do you all just pretend it's not happening?
Uncle Doctor is awkwardly patting Kludge on the back and saying, "You know, there are many samples yet to take from this relatively uncharted region. It wouldn't be that difficult to come up with an excuse to come back." Awkwardly patting on the shoulder.
Yeah, I'll stop like trying to make sure that the mobile is like perfect, and then like reach out and awkwardly pat Kludge's other shoulder.
I sniffle and then blow my nose. And it's like this honking sound, almost like a goose, as I try to clear my sinuses.
And it echoes all the way up the mine shaft.
Pretty much.
All right. So I think that I just want to like cut this scene here. I'm going to preserve these 3 clocks that are on the brink of hitting their limit in the event that you do decide later to come back to this cave for some reason, or these caverns, because it seems like that might happen. And I think like we don't want to necessarily play out a whole scene, but I would like just to quickly find out what happens as you trade this titanium wire to the Tango Foxtrot to try and get them to offer you a reasonable price on the, or maybe this is the reasonable price, as you remedy your relationship with them to get the thing that you actually need. Is any of you like the one who's likely to do the social negotiating parts of things? Like, do we have a face, or who thinks they might be the one that takes that on?
I mean,
Go ahead.
I think I've got the best skill in Decipher.
I think it's probably maybe like
Tune?
Connect, or
Okay.
I
Then
mean,
it
Connect
is
seems like the
definitely
obvious
not
one to me, because you're trying to. I mean, that's more about emotional, but it is like you're trying to negotiate with them, right? Like you're trying to win them over. Well, I guess you can describe what the approach is like. It doesn't have to be that.
Uncle Doctor has 1 point in Connect. And also, I think that I can imagine him approaching Tango Foxtrot with a not a heartfelt appeal, because it doesn't really have a heart, but like an earnest appeal to we're just getting in the door with him, and the first thing that Uncle Doctor is concerned with is like, are you and this kid gonna be okay now?
Yeah, I think it makes sense then for Uncle Doctor to be the one to roll for this. Is everyone cool with that? All right. So, I mean, I think the stakes here, like you've finished your mission, you're going to get the thing that you want. So really, this is about like how your relationship ends up with the faction. Like that's what you're trying to succeed or not succeed at. That's where the complications are going to come from.
Okay.
So you're going to roll with Connect. I think it's probably a risky action with standard effect.
Can I before we do this? Mm-hmm. I know that you want to like wrap this up. I want to sort of take this opportunity. I have this ability, Curiosity Satisfaction, that says whenever I come across a historical location or artifact or encounter Radiant Era technology for the first time, I can ask a question about it as though I had rolled a 6 to collect info. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know if maybe with that scan that Uncle Doctor made before, are there a lot of these kinds of like kind of untapped ruins here in the Shatter?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, I don't know that this is necessarily a historical location or artifact, but I mean, you definitely think that there are like untapped resources. There are strange things throughout the Shatter. Like that's to an extent like that's the deal of the hand of the cocoon. They're obsessed with the Shatter. They're definitely convinced there are strange things in there, maybe even strange gods. So yeah, you definitely feel that there are more oddities and more valuables and more strange life forms to be found.
Okay. In that case, I guess this is Uncle Doctor back in Lachlan. That's the name of the town, right? Mm-hmm. Back in Lachlan, and outside whatever the equivalent of like a biker bar is, where they've got the little like slat in the door to open to like check to make sure you know who you are. Has anybody come with me to deliver this?
I assumed all of us would, but if not, then Rona would at least definitely be there.
Okay.
Savati and Kluge, are you there as well?
Yeah, for sure.
I think I am face down in my cot, at wherever I
Aw.
normally stay, crying into my pillow so that people can't hear me.
Okay, so it's the three of us. And yeah, I'm holding up the wire, and I said, I believe I have something that belongs to you. Should I make the roll first, or should I do a little bit more
I think that
conversation?
makes sense. So,
Okay.
I mean, the person that you're dealing with, it's not one of the top members of the group. It's just, some goons who they've sent out here to meet with you.
Mhm.
But go ahead and roll. Are you happy to just roll with the one dice, or do you want to push yourself or look at a Lotus Gambit?
Yeah, do you have a Lotus Gambit in your back pocket?
I don't have anything off the top of my head, but does anyone else want to suggest something? Maybe connected or not connected to Tango Foxtrot?
My initial thought, because you said that the hands of the cocoon are all they're all about the Shatter. Regardless of what happens next in this conversation, I'm sure they're not happy about us going into the Shatter and bringing something back. As the way that you describe it, it sounds like they consider that their turf.
Yeah. I mean, I'll offer you the Lotus Gambit that your relationship with the Hand of the Cocoon deteriorates. That they find out what you've done.
So here's a thought. Since you made this right for Jack, basically, so figuring that they can use him as a bargaining chip, they promote him and send him out on more dangerous jobs.
That's too good.
That's awesome.
We have to do that. Yeah.
All right. The devil's bargain is that Jack is going to get more involved with Tango Foxtrot.
Yeah, and the tragedy is he thinks he's done something right.
Right.
Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, I'll roll 2.
Great.
Geez. Here we go. No.
So you get what you need. They make this trade, but they are not happy about it. They are not any better disposed towards you than they were before. If anything, the opposite. And when the reason that they're going to keep using Jack is not that you've made it good, but because they're still mad at this community and they want it to hurt.
Because can I offer a detail about that?
Yeah, please.
What we've just done, they want us to do it again. They don't want to send their own guys into the Shatter. They want for us to if you basically Jack is a hostage in this situation.
Amazing. I'm just going to make a note of this on the factions tab. All right. So I reckon that's where we're going to leave it for this week. We'll start up with downtime next time. So we're going to go around and do stars and wishes before we finish up. So Ian, if you haven't seen this before, a star is something that you particularly enjoyed in the session, and a wish is something that you either would have liked to see or are hoping for in the sessions to come. So we'll go left to right across the keeper. So Agatha, can I get you to start us off with stars and wishes?
Before that, are we doing... Is there end of session stuff? So
Like the
the
XP and such?
stuff. Yeah, you're right. So there's things like fallout and payoff that we'll do in the starter downtime next time, but you're right, you should mark off your end of session XP.
Okay. Review the following triggers. Should I... is it the same for everyone, I guess?
They're going to be slightly different.
I think some of them are playbook specific, right?
I think the first one is unique to each playbook, and the other two are shared across everyone.
Okay. So should I just go through it real quick, or how do you want to do it?
I'm happy for everyone just to do these for themselves. Like, just decide
Okay.
for yourself how much XP you get. If you're not sure, well, then we can have a discussion about it. But otherwise, just go through it on your own.
I reckon I got 1 or 2 XP, and since I'm going to be kind of a sporadic presence in this game, it seems like I'm going to devote those to the crew.
Oh, that's kind.
So, Shane, if so, I'm looking at the XP trigger. Did you struggle with issues from your belief or quirks? Is that something that we should share with the group so they know kind of like motivation or how things have changed?
So I mean, nobody has any quirks yet, but if you want to talk about how you struggled with your belief, then that would be cool.
Okay. So
When you picked the gambit, I was really thinking that you were playing to your belief. Like I thought that was like really related.
So, and I'm jumping up to the meta level here as a player, okay? Because I am totally stoked with everything that everybody did. Agatha, I loved how you were playing Rona. But I think as a character, Kluge would have taken the rejection of the baby dragon idea, like bringing this outsider in, it's too dangerous. And like Kluge really was identifying with this baby dragon as like, it's alone. It needs somebody to care for it, etc. As, oh crap, they really don't want me here after all. I'm only here because I can fix shit. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to talk about any of their XP triggers, or is everyone happy with how they've resolved those?
I'm good with that.
Cool. So we'll come back then to Stars and Wishes. Agatha.
Okay. I think my star is to you, Ian, actually. I feel like you just like jumped right in and like you had a lot of really cool plot things, plot hooks. So yeah, that was really cool. Star to you.
Thank you.
And wishes.
Oh, and should I say my wish as well? Okay.
Yeah.
My wish is to see the interaction between, because I think we got to see how Rona and Kluge interact with each other. So now I'm curious to see how like how Savati and Rona and Kluge, like what is that dynamic?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. And I think we'll get some of that during downtime probably. So left to right across the keeper. Pocket, Stars and Wishes.
Okay, so stars. Agatha, I loved how you played Rona. Like as the basically smart, sensible, oh my god, are we seriously doing this character? Because it really kind of hammered home like the kind of flightiness of Kluge in a lot of ways. Like, you know, here's Kluge like, oh my god, baby dragon, cute. And you're like, no, don't pet the baby dragon. So it added a sense and realism to the situation. So I that's something that I really appreciated, because with that anchor of stability, you know, we could all go off and do our own thing. As far as a wish goes, I felt like this time around, like I'd like to see Savati or Rona kind of lead or anchor or tee off a mission or come up with a mission for us to go on or something for us to fix or do, and see how it differs.
Cool.
And have them take the lead, because I felt like I got more than enough spotlight this time around. So happy to play support next time.
Cool. Thank you. Kluge will obviously needs some emotional recuperation time before leading any more missions. Ian, stars and wishes.
Sure, yeah. I want to give a star to Donna. I think that the design of Savati, I really love the way that you have described her. I especially was like going into this game. I was sort of waiting on like to follow Shane's lead about some of this stuff where it comes to the supernatural or other kinds of like magical or numinous sort of elements in the game, because some of the source material ranges from like mostly realistic, some weird things, to just like outright space magic. And when you introduce this witch who has lightning scars all over her and is like controlling the weather, I was like, cool, we're doing it, we're here. So thank you for giving me permission to just like be a little gonzo in the science fantasy space. As far as a wish goes, I guess I want to see, because we have gotten involved in these two factions about like that come from other parts of the continent. I would like to see how this spark that we have just like seen kind of folds out to become like maybe like a larger scale story, and goes beyond the kind of like domestic dispute,
Cool, thank you very much. So I'm just going to answer as well Agatha's question in the chat, which was about beliefs. So that's something that comes up in connection with some of the downtime activities. So you don't need to worry about that for now. And we'll talk more about the downtime activities next time. Cool. Thanks, Ian. And Dana.
Yeah. For me, big star for like the call out from Agatha when we we were leaning a little bit too hard in the faction war assassination kind of thing, and I really like that Agatha got us out, and like it was like a good reflection, and I really like how we end up like having a super lighthearted session where we make a cradle for a baby dragon. Like it was like the most lighthearted thing I have ever played, and I love it. And it was like really nice. And I think it was like a cool beginning. Like I don't mind if we got a little bit darker or things like get more messy or something, but I really like to start in this place of like relative happiness and relative safety, and like it felt like a good start for the campaign, and I really enjoy it. For wishes, I'm not sure. I really like my generic wish of like I want to keep going and see what more will happen, and like I really want more of these species interacting with each other. I think they were really fun and the dynamics were really fun, so I just want to see more of them.
Cool. Yeah, my star also to Agatha for calling us in on the tone at the start. I thought that was really sharply well observed and it helped a lot, and made it really fun. And yeah, I don't have any particular wishes, but thanks very much, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording